Welcome to the Real Estate Virgins podcast, where we are here to elevate your business, take your business to the next level. We're not just agents talking the talk, we're agents walking the walk. We have built multi-million-dollar real estate businesses, and we share tactics and strategies to help you become a positive leader in your community, to get never-ending referrals, and to just build an awesome, fun business. But before we get started, we hope this episode brings a little bit of a value to you. You know, the average commission in the United States is around between $7,500 to $10,000. If this episode gets you at least one more deal, I would say it's fair if you just give us a review. It's completely free. This whole episode is free. But just
no sponsors yet.
No sponsors yet.
We're open to it though.
Yeah, we
so
are.
If you're listening,
just give us a positive review if possible, 5 stars, and we're excited to get into this episode.
free, easy way to help encourage us, keep us going, and to help give back because that's all about what we are here. We are helping to walk you through no matter what state in your career that you're in, whether you're looking to scale up, or if you're brand new into the industry and you don't really know how to get started, I think we can be a great resource for you. That's the whole point and the heart behind what we do here, to help you elevate. So just as a little gift back to us, a free, easy way to support the podcast, give us a like where we're at, 5 stars if you can, or whatever the highest. Don't give us a 5 if there's 10 stars. Give us the max stars, please. And then, of course, we got our host, Mr. John Michael Perez.
What's up, guys? You can find me at John Michael Perez on Instagram, and Jordan Brown.
Yo, it is good to be back at Jordan Sells ATX. Coming off one of our, I always love talking to Suman, man. If you are brand new to the podcast, you haven't listened to the last episode, you probably want to start there. Suman is a $180 million salesman within the first and last 3 years of his business. And he just got ABOR, which is our local board of realtors Salesperson of the Year award. Big kudos to the man, Suman, the superhuman, doing big things.
I love it.
Here and we're so excited to be partnered with him. And the future's looking bright for our team. I mean, it's really great to see what we've got going on. Getting to hear the wins that are happening despite the market shifting, despite all this stuff that's getting thrown at us. Our team is finding a way.
100%. Yeah. So where can they find you on Instagram?
At Jordan Sells ATX, baby. Everywhere.
Everywhere. And at John Michael Perez. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we've got a few topics we want to talk about. We even have some notes to help us.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting a little professional so we can get ready for some sponsorships.
Oh, yeah.
But today, I really wanted to talk about first subject, mindset. And definitely one of the questions we get was what are some strategies to stay motivated, especially when you're not seeing a deal from all the actions that you take?
Oh, it's so easy to get discouraged when you don't have something.
Yeah.
I know the feeling myself where the beginning of the year didn't go the way that I think I anticipated it. Partly, in fact, because interest rates were rumored to have 6 scheduled drops for 2024. As the year goes on, we start seeing those get delayed and or canceled until later this year or early next year. So the buyer activity was so positive. Everyone had that real positive energy. This year's going to be different. It's going to be different than 2023. It's going to be better. And then whenever that didn't happen immediately, everyone kind of goes, huh. And I feel like I felt it in my business for a little while. I mean, luckily things have picked up. We are getting a lot of momentum going, and it's easy to get stuck in this mindset when things aren't going well, that things won't get well.
But what are the strategies though? Yes, you have gone through that, but what got you out of it?
Being around producers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for me, I know I've talked about this since the beginning of our episode. When you're around winners and you're around people with the right mentality, it'll fix whatever wrong mentality you have. Because by ourselves, that's one thing I love about the Wolf Pack. We're around a bunch of other lone wolves who are navigating this industry together, but we're a collective as well. So whenever I'm not feeling like a self-motivator, I can lean in on my good leadership and my partners to lift me up and get me encouraged.
I agree. I think what we consume either feeds our passion or takes away from our passion. And obviously, like, real estate may not be your passion, but if you can attach your mission or your end goal to your actionable items that you need to take every single day, then you can get to those goals quicker, right? But the thing is, if you're not surrounding yourself with top producers, then taking those actions is going to be so much harder.
Yeah. And I noticed, so I just had, funny enough, this conversation's very timely. I had a phone call today with one of our team members who I haven't seen plugging in, right? And so something in me just said, hey, reach out to this person, see if they're okay, see how you can support their business. And we ended up having like a 40-minute conversation before my 10 a.m. call this morning, my mentee call. And I think that was so helpful. And I hope that it was received that way, that like, hey, I genuinely care about your business. And just hearing them be kind of like, man, like, I'm in this spot and I know I can get through it. And I'm so thankful for this and that. And like, just having a real human moment with that person really put things in perspective. And I think they are now motivated and see like a clearer path to getting plugged in because they just needed to hear from someone else.
Yeah.
So your team is really important.
I know. I had a conversation with a newer agent recently too, and he was saying, how do you figure out the time between when you first start and you have no deals until you get your first deal, right? And I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm going to audit your Facebook. I'm going to audit your Instagram account. I'm going to audit every single social media account. And if you haven't made any posts, I do not want you to complain.
Yep.
And before, I literally got my phone out and I said, all right, you ready? I'm going to do this. And he goes, well, I haven't made any posts. And I said, then why are you complaining? Right? Why are you mad if you're a secret agent? Right?
Yep.
If you're going to, you're not allowed to complain around me if you haven't taken any action.
Yeah. Funny enough, I have a mentee, and I don't know if I don't know if they listen to this, but it was actually really great because I think a portion of our business is missing accountability. And I think like if I can be that for our team, I turn up the accountability a notch and I watch what happens, right? Diamonds are made from pressure. And then I see who folds like a $5 lawn chair.
Yep.
So we had a conversation where I said, look, you have a 9-to-5 job. And what do your weekends look like? You told me when you first started, you wanted to make real estate the thing that replaces your job and gets you into a happier position, right?
Her mission, what she needs to attach to.
So I said, let's take a look at what you're doing outside of your 9-to-5 that's aiming to make that a closer reality for you. So when we broke it down, I said, look, there's 168 hours in the week. I think that's correct. It's 164, 162, 168. I think it's 168.
In the 160 range.
Somewhere there. So I was like, okay, so 40 hours of your week are at this other job. Let's assume you sleep for 8 hours a night. Then let's think about your travel to and from work. Then you just expressed to me that you have classes that take up another 3 hours on the weekend. And then, you've got to have some personal time and this and that. I said, at the end of the day, you only have this much time to work on your business. Where are you going to make that time up? And if you're not doing something within that time or utilizing, like, once you get home, right? I said, you may have to, after work, take an hour every day to work on your business, even after you just left that job that just drained you. Because your real estate business, you're a business owner. And if you don't attend to it, it's neglected and it dies. You never get started if you're going to put it on the back burner and just hope that things come to you. That's not how this works. And I think it was really...
We're not going to do the work for you.
No. And it was so eye-opening because I said, look, I think a lot of people are missing the part where I say, if you really want to make this, like, otherwise we're just going through the motions. If you are here to, like, I don't know if someone like paid for your schooling and so like to get your real estate license so that you feel obligated to go through these motions. I want to see you like win and produce and achieve that goal that you told me that you set for yourself. Otherwise, let's stop the pretending.
Imagine all the agents right now that don't have that support system and mentors, right? They are just like on this island. there are so many people out there that are like that. And what really changed the trajectory of my business was finding that mentor, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is I had to be open to I had to humble myself. I had to put my ego to the side and say, okay, I'm going to try it his way, right? And even though I think it's going to work this other way, I'm going to try it his way, right? And the thing is this person already had the experience. They've gone through all of the negative obstacles so that they're teaching me the way to get around those negative obstacles, right? Legitimately changed the trajectory of my life. And now both you and I get to share those same strategies and tactics to get never-ending referrals because we actually took the action. You can audit our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, and we're legitimately we're not talking the talk, we're walking the walk, right? We're posting, we're sharing testimonials, we're getting links from the MLS and sharing it on our Facebook. It's way more than just, I talked to my 5 friends today,
Right.
Or
Well,
I did an open house once this month.
Sometimes people aren't even doing that, and then they wonder why their business is stagnant. It's like, dude, when you get licensed, the only people who know that you got your license are probably your immediate family, like a close group knit of friends. Yeah. And if those people aren't looking to buy or sell right now, then what are you going to do?
You have to open up that sphere of influence, right? You have to start building an influence of more people than just the 5-10 people that you talk to every single day.
Yeah.
And if you can't open up that sphere of influence, then opportunities are literally going to close in because you don't know anybody to talk to. You have no rapport with anybody. And sorry, let me turn that off. And yeah, you're not going to get any deals.
Well, the coolest part was watching whenever these hard conversations that force them to look at themselves and go, man, like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. The wheels start turning. And then the conversation shifts to, well, I don't feel confident because of this reason. And then that's where the real growth happens. Because I go, I can run with that. I can teach you that.
Yeah.
You need a script practice? I got you. You need a buyer and seller presentation? I got you.
Yeah.
And we can make this happen so that you feel competent enough without the sales, because you won't have the track record if you're not having the conversations. And you can't do anything about the lack of track record. But what you can do is have really great marketing, be competent enough to have a real estate conversation, and then identify opportunities when they arise.
Yeah.
And if I can help get you there, now we're cooking.
Yep. I love it. I mean, it's just like, building muscle. Like if you're never going to go to the gym, you're never going to get never see any results. Right. And the thing is people want to be able to lift 250 pounds 10 times. But if you've never started with the 5-pound weights, you're never going to get to 250 pounds. Right.
Yeah.
And so you got to put in the reps with the conversations, with the calls that you make, with the videos that you make, or you're never going to be able to get the $250 million worth of sales that Soom and Kim put in, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
it's good stuff. I mean, you can't be one to lose weight while picking up the ice cream pint and crushing that instead of, having a regimen and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Discipline. One thing I'm so proud of. I had my one-on-one with another. I talk about my mentees a lot, but I feel like people can resonate with this because it's they're in a similar spot. Yeah. A lot of agents who are listening are in a similar spot as my mentees. Their first year, they're newly licensed, whatever. And what was cool was hearing him after attending some of my morning meetings, our one-on-ones. It's starting to click, and he goes, "I see how this can work. Let me tell you my monthly or my weekly plan." And he went into it and he's like, "I'm going to make 3 videos a week." And I was like, 3 is ambitious. That's great. I'm going to do 2.5 hours of cold calling on expireds and FSBOs per day. And I'm going to do an open house every weekend. And I was like, dude, you do that and be consistent with it, you're going to crush. Like, I know you will. You're doing the stuff that people make excuses not to do. And if you go out there and you do that, it's almost impossible for you to not get results.
Yeah. And then putting gasoline on the fire is celebrating small wins, right? And so once you start taking those actions, celebrate that you actually did the open house, right? Celebrate that you actually did the video, or you edited the video, or you posted the video. Those are small wins, but you need to celebrate the fact that you did it, right? And I have to remind myself every few months, hey, John, are you celebrating the small wins? Because if you're not, you're looking for home runs when games are actually built on base hits.
Yeah. You got to get the bases loaded. You win the series by big plays, and those big plays are made up of a lot of small things.
Yep.
That if we think about baseball, someone gets walked, they get on base. Now that becomes dangerous if the second person gets a single base hit. Now you got two people on.
Yep.
And it's almost like loading up these actionable items so that you do hit the home run. And we think too often we're just in this instant gratification age where if things don't pay off immediately with some kind of monetary value, we think that they didn't work. And that's so not true.
Yeah.
This business just takes time. If you're going to be a little more passive in your attempts to get business, you're going to have a little more passive results.
Yeah.
But if you can get uncomfortable, one thing I love is he's doing a little bit of everything. He's getting online. He's going to do 3 videos. He's going to have an online presence. He's going to do the more active stuff like the cold calling or circle prospecting. And then he's going to go to where buyers are, open houses.
Yep.
So super, super great. Like I thought that was cool that I didn't tell him to make this plan. I just said, like, I tell people kind of ideas on what to do. And he said, I see that I need to do this to achieve my results.
Yeah.
And I can work with that.
100%. And just a reminder though, attaching yourself to the mission, right? Like I talked to one agent. He was like, man, my mission is to give people the opportunities that I didn't get when I was younger, right? Or give people the opportunities that my parents weren't able to afford, right? And I was like, well, how are you going to do that if you're not doing any videos a week, right? If you're not making any calls, you're never going to give anybody the opportunity that you weren't able to afford, right? And so every single time you think about, oh man, the weather's not looking too good today, I'm not going to do a video. Well, go inside, get a light, turn a light on, put your camera on, and talk about 3 reasons why it might be a good time to buy right now, right? 5 reasons or 5 steps to sell
5
your home.
home improvement tips to increase value on reselling your home.
The weather doesn't have to be good inside your home. Right?
Yeah. Side note, some content related updates. I read somewhere, I have no idea to verify if this is real or not, but I read that a few weeks ago, Instagram has changed their algorithm.
Interesting.
And so it used to be, supposedly, you would post something and they would take the first 10% of your friends and see how they interacted with your stuff. And if it was positive, they would push it out to your next 10% of friends. And then you had to go through basically all your friends to reach an external group of people. But now, supposedly, if you post something for the first 10 minutes, it's to like anybody. So like it's the most discoverable right now, which is interesting. As opposed to your content was being gatekept by your followers, which I thought was really interesting. Another thing that's changed is I've read this across multiple different mediums, so I have a tendency to believe it. Minute-long videos that aren't as scripted are performing better because people are wanting that authenticity. And I don't know about you, but like we are guilty of this. We post videos that are really edited. They have the flashy word. They have the graphics that pop up that support what we're saying. And that like super produced product is becoming less popular because everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
And so people kind of like when you just hit record and you start talking. So like that 1 to 2 minute, up to 3 that I think TikTok lets you do is really popular right now.
Interesting.
So I'm testing it out.
Somebody gave me a strategy and they said before they make a post that they like all of their friends' stuff and comment on all
I
their
saw that.
stuff.
And like Instagram rewards it by pushing it out more because it shows that you're like a contributing member of Instagram.
Because it rewards you for being a contributing member, like you just said. And so that's an interesting tactic. I haven't tried it yet, but I will.
I'm in the middle of trying it out. I just did my first video where I just like hit record and just started going, on TikTok. And I post, I think I need to play around with like when to post stuff because I think I posted at like 5 o'clock and everyone's driving home. So it got like very limited views. I thought it was an interesting topic. I put like a hook on it and just didn't really perform. But again, performance is not necessarily the say all in if something was successful or not. And one last thing, you mentioned about celebrating your wins. I have I think the last 3 videos I've done on my YouTube channel were walkthroughs of a neighborhood near here, all by the same builder. And I did a test. I did 3 different styles of headlines, or like the subject of the video. And I did 3 different thumbnails. And the win for me was discovering that 2 of my 3 thumbnails were really good and 1 wasn't.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like I would put it out there, and the video would have like 2 of my videos have 3 times the click-through rate of another one. So I know that those kind of thumbnails are more attention getting than, according to the analytics, than the other one. That's a win for me.
That's a huge one.
Even though the video didn't perform, doesn't matter. I found out some really key information.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that. I made a note here, and it says, measure your success by the actions you take and not the results. And so a lot of times, especially in the very beginning, too many people are attached to the result and not the process, and
Showing up is half the battle.
yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
And just being prepared for when the opportunity arises is the other half. That's really it.
There's this great podcast. I think I sent it to your way. Maybe not, but it's by Alex Hormozy, and he said there's so much power in just preparing for 20 minutes. Like just preparing. That's it. Prepare for 20 minutes on anything and everything, right? Because a lot of times people just wing it. I'm a proponent. I'm a big wing it guy. I'm not gonna lie.
We kind of wing this a little bit, but like it's a topic that we
Well, I put
we have a
some
lot
notes down.
and you
Put
do
a lot
have
of them
notes this time. Yeah, we can wing it.
Yes.
There's been episodes that it's probably obvious that we winged it, but
Yeah.
you know what? We're here, baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I probably spent 20 minutes on these notes, and I think it's going to be, way more beneficial than a normal, wing it podcast. But he was just saying, like, imagine spending 20 more minutes with a prospect, right? Like, so for instance, if it's a listing and you just Google who he is and where he works and how long he's been there, and maybe he was born in Boston, right? And then having that conversation, oh, you're from Boston. I've got family in Boston, right? Or,
Like, tell me about that. I've never been. Like, what brought you over here?
exactly. Just for those extra 20 minutes will help you build better rapport, right?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, just Googling him, or, maybe doing an extra 20 minutes on what the amenities look like in his neighborhood, right? And saying, oh, do you know about the pool, or how long it's been, or what's coming up close by? That extra 20 minutes is extremely valuable when you're trying to pitch somebody.
Absolutely. Well, it's also going to be really important as we approach these changes going on in our industry, where the value you provide, the service you provide, will be more under a microscope than it's probably ever been, because the perspective and the narrative out there has changed on buyer agency. So people are going to expect more. Again, I brought this up on my morning call. I got a text message last night around 9:30 about a referral that I gave out, and they're not the person is not happy with the competency or level of service that they seem to be getting.
Is this here in Texas?
Just for detail's sake, I'll keep that off of this. But they basically said, "Hey, so this person's pretty new, huh?" And I was like, "No, they're not." Like what? No, why? What's going on? Because like obviously I'm gonna be. Never mind. I'll leave that detail out. But this experience is important. I want him to have a great experience, and so whenever I refer him business, I like to know how things are going. And so to hear that the perception is that this person doesn't know what they're doing, it's a reflection on me, because I recommended this person. So like I got to step in and be like, hey, like what's going on? Why aren't we happy? I just think it goes to show, and this was his words, and I'll show you the text later, but he said, "I'm tired of lazy agents." He goes, "I'm sick of getting dealt agents that don't know what they're doing." He said, "This is basically a $30,000 check that you've lobbed up for this person that I don't feel that they're going to earn." First of all, now here's the thing. This text could have gone a way different way, because my immediate visceral reaction was to try to like correct things. Yeah. But that's not the hill I want to die on. I don't want to die on the hill of, hey, like actually this is more like a $7,000 check for them. But like that, it doesn't matter. The amount doesn't matter. The experience, whether it's $30,000 check or a $7,000 check, he doesn't care. He wants to make sure that he's being heard. And I just told him, I said, look, we don't owe anything to this person. You don't owe this person a thing yet. And neither do I to keep you in this situation. If you don't feel confident that you're going to be taken care of, let's change the situation. Mm-hmm. And I think the whole reason I say this is that your value and your service are going to be so important moving forward.
What do you think this agent could have done better?
So here's the thing. I need to talk to this agent.
Okay.
I need to get the other side of the story because you and I both know clients' perspectives and reality can be two very different things.
1000%.
His biggest thing was he said that there were multiple different, like 3 to 5 different sources of possibilities for a match for his home. So home search, right?
Gotcha.
And he's like, this just feels unprofessional. It should all be coming from like one source. And in my head, I said, to be fair, maybe you're looking at a place where MLSs are split and they're having to do, an MLS that they're in. And then there's a website that they have to use because they're not part of that MLS.
That sounds like an expectations conversation.
Expectations and education.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And so for me, I'll always say, hey, I'm going to send you properties, but feel free to look anywhere you want, right? And here's the thing. You told me you wanted 3-bed, 2-bath under 500, right? But sometimes the properties that you may like might not show up under that criteria.
They break their own rules and then hold it against you.
Exactly.
I've had that happen. It's so frustrating. Yeah. I've literally been on a property showing this and the person be like, why wasn't this one in your search? And I'm like, it's 1,400 square feet and you said no less than 1,800.
Exactly.
There's nothing to talk about.
Yep, exactly.
So if that's a possibility, you need to let me know.
So if it comes outside of that realm, and you're looking on ZillowRealtor.com and it doesn't show up in the search that I've sent you, send it my way. I'm more than happy to show you that house, right?
Or I'll tell you why it didn't show up in your search. Give me the chance to tell you why that wasn't a possibility.
Yeah. And so that's an expectations conversation. And agents, hopefully this is helpful for you, right? Like we're talking about this situation right now, expectations, and we've talked about this a lot. Expectations will save your butt when it comes to objections like this.
Yeah. And I'm again, I don't know the full scope just because I've got to do a little more research, but have the hard conversations, find out as much information up front and just do your job really well. Cause you can, even this small little thing is tipping this guy off that he's going to have to pay an agency commission for this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like people are starting to expect a really high level of service. And I think it does stem from this lawsuit.
Did he bring that up, the lawsuit?
He's brought it up before. Yes. Yep.
So maybe that's on his mind.
Could be.
Yeah.
And he's also under the idea right now that he's probably the one paying for it too, which
he's a buyer's agent.
So
that's another expectations conversation.
Yep. So if we haven't had that conversation and we're already this far in the process, there's already a misunderstanding happening and we could avoid that. Sorry. I know that was a loop and that wasn't like in the script though. I think it's important just to note again, your service and your competency are at the forefront right now and buyers and sellers expect more.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit. God's been really good to me lately. I'm not gonna lie.
I've always joked that you're God's favorite child.
Dude, yesterday I was at Whataburger and they were like, "Hey, your meal's on us," and I'm like, "Okay, thanks."
You know what's funny? I have the exact. So me and God must be beefing because I swear I was on. So my brother flew in from Kansas City, and we're heading down to the Austin FC game, and the train or we took the metro. And it was leaving in like 3 minutes, and we walk up, and the ATM doesn't accept card. None of us have cash, and we're freaking out because I'm like, we can't miss this because it's the last one before the game starts. Oh, no. So I see the conductor walking up, and I go over to him I'm like, hey, what gives with not taking the card? We're gonna miss the train. He's like, oh well, you can download the app and pay for it there. Well, the app wasn't working either, and so I'm like, I'm kind of freaking out, and he's like, hey, just hop on and you can I'll help you with the app or whatever. So for whatever reason, the app suddenly starts working. I'm able to log in. I accidentally double pay because I like basically preloaded a wallet and then I couldn't use that wallet to pay for the tickets. So now I have $30 in cash on this wallet for a train that I rarely use. And I buy the tickets, which was another $24. 10 seconds later, he walks by and goes, "Hey, dude, don't worry about it today." So you know, I gotta get right, I guess.
Yeah. Well, switching gears. No, it's just, you know, I'm seeing a lot of the results that, you know, we talked about this several times, but I'm seeing a lot of the results right now from the work that I've done within the last 3 to 5 months ago. Right.
Yeah.
And it's really good. You know, I was sitting on the couch yesterday and I've been in positions where I'm like, years ago, I've been in positions where like, man, dude, I really hope this works out, you know, because I need a paycheck. And it's just really cool that like the systems that we've built is finally working, or not, you know, over a long period of time, you know, and it still takes a lot of, you know, oiling up the machine, right? Still takes time, but you know, closing that 1.1 deal and then closing the 600 and the 800 and the, you know, and then 3 new listings this week. It's just like, dude,
Sick flex, John.
it's just like,
No, that's amazing.
no, it's just,
it really is.
It's just,
in a market that a lot of people are wondering about their position within real estate, that's amazing.
yes. And I'm just thankful and grateful, right? Like, I don't even know why I'm flexing right now. But
He's flexing both with this story and physically. If you're watching on YouTube, he's literally like,
no, it's just cool to see the, you know, the hard work pay off, right?
well, that goes into the long-term vision and persistence. That's all part of it. That's the whole point of doing consistent work. Is the payoff isn't right there.
Yeah.
We've talked about so many times that you don't hold an open house, and you might get a person right then and there that comes through, but maybe it takes a few times. We've had experiences where we had a new listing and we'd go and we host the open house. One person comes through.
Yeah.
And then the very next day, 11 parties come through.
Yep.
You just never know. But if you don't show up, I know what's going to happen. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's one example. You and I are doing a deal now because I got a random sign call, right? And I was taking a nap. I get a call. It was like, "Yeah, are you John Michael?" I'm like, "Yes, Mask is speaking." Because, you know, we get a million robocalls.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, scam calls.
Do you need a health insurance quote?
Yeah.
No, and stop selling my info.
And there was, you know, this listing that, especially right now, builders are offering crazy incentives, right? So we had to drop the price a decent amount, and we're trying to find a specific buyer that can afford closing costs, you know? And we found that buyer because he loves the house, close by family, whatever.
Gets to utilize that nice VA benefit.
Yes. But that's just like, I think what's cool is now I can navigate conversations way better than I used to, right? Because used to, I probably would have fumbled that deal, right? I probably would have scared him away and not known anything. But that conversation him and I had in that kitchen, he was like, "Oh, thank God you know about VA loans."
Sure.
Right? He was like, "I've talked to other agents. They have no idea." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you are 100% disabled. You don't have to pay taxes. So your mortgage is probably going to be around X amount, right?"
And he's paying less on this mortgage than his rent is currently. So that worked out super perfect.
It did.
You're in, again, timely messages. I just talked with a lot of my, I had some one-on-one, some really nice conversations with the mentees. The most uncomfortable that you're going to be in real estate is right now. Because as long as you continue to show up, push yourself, educate, have conversations, get uncomfortable. You will only be uncomfortable that time. People that are scared to host their first open house, they go and they watch. Like I had 2 mentees join me on an open house, and guess what? Now they're comfortable with it because they got to see it and they go, "Dang, that wasn't that bad. I can do that."
And that's a small win, getting comfortable, you know? Or getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. Doing the things that you're uncomfortable with.
And I remember personal story time. First job I ever had. My mom had to go in and beg Craig, my old boss, to get me a job at this UPS store. And I remember I walked in on day one, and I'm going over the training, and you've got UPS shipping, you've got post office, mailers. There's postcard printing. There's copiers over here. There's helping people utilize the internet. There's this system here. And I went home and I told my mom, I don't think I could do this.
Really?
100%. I went home and I said, I was so intimidated because it was such an information overload and I didn't feel qualified. I didn't feel competent.
Yeah.
And so day one, I went home and said, I might have to quit this job because I don't feel comfortable.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And guess what? Within a year,
Yeah.
I could have ran that place. I was running that place essentially.
Yeah.
I could do everything.
I remember.
But you know why? Because I stuck through the uncomfortable. Yeah. Every day I got a little bit better. Every day I learned something more about this aspect of the business. Real estate is no different.
And look, we're not saying it's going to be easy, right? Pushing through the uncomfortableness is actually extremely hard. Oh man, I've got bills next month. Like, how am I going to pay those bills, right? Well, I had to do Uber. I had to walk dogs. I had to pick up dog poop. Like, I had to do all the things to be able to pay the bills on top of 8 hours of real estate activities, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to get uncomfortable. But since I went through the uncomfortableness, we're sitting in our studio with my wife downstairs taking a nap. She doesn't have to work. Like, I had to go through the freaking pain, like a lot of pain and a lot of suffering to be able to get here.
Yeah.
But if you don't go through the pain, you're going to be stuck wherever you're at for the rest of your life, comfortable, because you never went through the pain.
Yeah, there was a really funny moment where, going back to the mentee that I said, hey, your work hour or your work week only allows this much time. I said, I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to call 30 people on your phone this week. You should have seen their face.
Oh, I bet.
And they go, call 30 people? I go, I'm sorry, is that a lot for a week?
I know a team that calls 1,000 people a day.
Yeah. Like the 3-line dialer and stuff? Oh, yeah.
1,000 people a day.
So it was just funny, the perspective. And I'm looking at it going, if someone told me to call 5, I could do that right now.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between someone who has tried it and who was at one point uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now can do it. Mm-hmm. There's not almost a single real estate conversation that I could have right now that's like in my space that I wouldn't feel comfortable having. And I wasn't like that day one.
I think it's a shift of mindset too with those conversations on calling those 30 people, right? A lot of times we think as brand new real estate agents, I'm calling them just to get something, right? But when we shift our mindset to how do we help these people and is there anything that we can add value to, right? Then it's a whole different conversation, right? So if you're coming from the aspect of, hey, I just want to let you know I'm a real estate agent. Do you know anybody, buyers or sellers that may be thinking about getting to the real estate market?
You should get hung up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you switch that to, hey, what's up? I was in the area. I was just thinking about you. Your birthday was last month. How was your birthday? Cool. How's your husband doing? Awesome. Cool. Did you realize that the house right down the road from you sold for $200,000 more than what we purchased your home for? You didn't know that. Oh, cool. Well, hey, I just wanted to let you know, is there anything I can do for you? No? Awesome.
Are you interested in knowing the value of your property? Like, I know that's that house. Are you interested in knowing the property value of your home?
Exactly. I maybe have messed up my...
Well, even
still,
like an expired listing, right? Calling them instead of being like, I've got to get this listing. Like, hey, you should use me to sell your house. Hey, I saw that, like, obviously this person wants to sell their home. That's why they put it on the market. Mm-hmm. It didn't work out for one reason or another. Hey, my name is Jordan. I'm a local realtor here. I'm sure I'm not the first person that you've talked to, but I wanted to ask you about 123 Main Street. I saw that you listed and it didn't sell. Do you have any feedback on why you think that might not have sold? Oh, sure, XYZ reason. Well, hey, I've got some insights for you as well. I promise this is no pressure, but if you're open to discussing this with me, I have a presentation I'd like to present to you about maybe how I would have done things a little bit different to get this house sold. Boom.
Would you like to hear about that presentation?
Yeah, or like If you're available next week, I'd love to meet up.
Yep.
How,
Hey, and look, and
little things like that. It's problem solving.
And here's the thing: you may get the appointment, but you may not get the listing, right? And that's putting in the reps.
Yep.
Right. That's
Because you'll learn
reps.
something like every single, even people that at open houses ask different questions. And there's like a basic thing that you should understand, but you start kind of getting really good just when you do it so much that you start anticipating what people are going to ask. I used to never think people would give a crap what the heat pump, the age of the heat pump was, or like the roof, or this or that. And it's just little things like that. And now, before I even go to this open house, I want to know all this info so that when they go, what is the age of the AC unit or the furnace? What are the age of these major items for this purchase? I didn't know that day one, but I put myself in the uncomfortable position of the unknown, went through the awkwardness of not knowing it at first, going and finding answers, then relaying the answers, and now it's just part of what I do.
So speaking about questions, one of the notes that we had was, here are 5 questions you need to ask at a listing appointment. And you and I will both, I'll go 1, you go 2, 3,
Sure.
4, 5. Okay. First one is, so besides price, what is most important to you when selling your home? Right.
Could be timeline, could be bottom line, could be a lease back. You never know. I have won multiple offer situations by having better terms and not the highest price because it meant more to that seller. And so if you're at the listing appointment, bringing up these topics about, hey, if we want to sell really quickly.
Hey, write this down, by the way, these questions. That's very important.
Yeah. Is it important that, like, do you have a deadline that we're trying to meet? Do you absolutely, like, you're moving for a job, you need to start June 1st? We got some work to do. Like, and then like finding solutions and, top dollar. Well, what's your timeline look like so that, like, do we start really high and work our way down? Do we start really low in hopes of creating a bid war? These are all different strategies that we can use and implement.
So I'm going to repeat number 1. Besides price, what is most important to you when selling your home? That's an important question that you should ask at a listing appointment. Number 2.
And I accidentally already said this one, but number 2, what time frame are you wanting to start? When do we get this home listed? I have people who are waiting for a certain dollar value to be met. I have people who are moving for jobs. I have people who are moving based on when the school lets out.
So this is a very important question. What time frame are you wanting to start? And the reason why is I'm closing on a deal Tuesday because she's a principal and she couldn't close on her home until the school year is over, right?
My most recent one was the same way. They didn't want to pull the kids out before school was up. They were like, it would be cruel to yank them out from their friends group, place them in another school district for 3 weeks.
Time frame is extremely important, and knowing the time frame, right? And so usually a closing takes 30 to 45 days, and then also looking at how many days on market in that specific area, right? So now you can calculate, well, average days on market right now is 30 days. And so if it's going to take an extra 30 to 45 days, that means 2 months to 3 months of getting your house closed. Is that okay with you? When do we need to list the house, right? And if we need to list the house, when do we need to take pictures, right? So time frame is super important. Number 3, where are you going next? And this question is very important because this is actually a money generating question. Hey, where are you going next? Oh, well, we're thinking about moving to Dallas. Awesome. Are you thinking about buying in Dallas? Yeah, we're probably going to use this money to buy in Dallas. Awesome. I actually have an agent that's in Dallas that may be able to help. Is that okay? Well, now that opens up an opportunity to get a referral.
True story. One of my under contracts right now, he's moving back into the area. He was a referral from someone else. And I know that they have a house in East Texas. I obviously don't service East Texas. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you have an agent that you're working with for the listing? He said, yes. I could have stopped there. Instead, I waited a little bit. We got we were working on getting under contract. We were viewing houses. And I just casually brought it back up and I said, hey, so how's the listing going? And he goes, man, I haven't heard from this realtor in 2 weeks. And we're just literally waiting for pictures for someone to come out and get this thing listed. And I said, hey, well, if you haven't, if you're open to it, I have team out there.
Yeah.
Suman says that a lot. I have team, and he does. But I said, hey,
And even if you don't have an agent out there, go search for an agent that's out there and interview them and say, okay, maybe once you interview them, make sure that they are actually a good agent and then give them a referral, right?
So that's exactly what I did. I said, if you're open to it, I've got team out in that area that I would love for you to interview at a chance of earning your business. Mm-hmm. And what did we do? That unlocked a referral fee for me. Mm-hmm. We got it listed like super quick. He still hasn't heard from that original agent, so not sure what happened there. But like the business is out there and the opportunities are there if you ask the right questions and you follow up.
Yeah. And so basically what Jordan just did was he multiplied one deal into 2 deals because he asked the right questions. These are all secrets, guys. These are all tactics that we use. Asking for the referral, asking them where you're going next. Number 4, Jordan.
Number 4, do you have a price that you would feel comfortable with selling for?
And after you ask this question, bring out your CMA to show them the homes that have sold in the area. And the reason why I ask them first is to gauge where they're at and where their mind is, right? Because if I don't ask that question and then I give them a price that is like extremely higher, right? Then well, 1, I'm going to be the superhero, but 2, I'm going to ask them why they think that house, right?
And the opposite can happen too.
Exactly.
If you're a lot lower, we just had this. I swear we didn't plan it this way, but a lot of the stuff we just talked about on our 10 a.m. call today. We have a teammate, and she was like, the seller said, my bottom line is 400 cash. We looked at comps together. 350 is what he's going to be lucky to get. So we game planned. And I said, look, you're going to have a really uncomfortable conversation. He's clearly at one thing. You need to show him comps and then say, based on what we've seen, is there something that I'm missing that you know, or has this changed your perspective? Mm-hmm. And so now it opened it up where he goes, oh, I guess I wasn't right. He thought he was going to get 450. Realistically, he's looking at 350. But she had the conversation, and now it opened up an opportunity for her because she didn't just feed into she didn't set him up for failure. She came with proof and comps and was the expert.
Exactly. And the reason why after I asked them, what do you think your house is going to sell for, right? I bring out the data and I say, okay, well, you want 450. Let's look at the houses that have sold in your area. And here's the thing. I would love to sell your house for 450, but we make decisions based off of data and not emotion, right? And so let's look at the data, right? And then, oh, well, this house sold for 345 square footage, very similar to yours. Oh, this house sold for 355. I wonder why. Oh, that has a nice countertops. And then now they're thinking in their head, they're actually thinking, oh, okay, so the houses in our area actually are going for a lot less than I thought, right? And it's not this random. They're not thinking this agent is uneducated, right? Or this agent.
Well, I like the guy that told me 450.
Well, awesome. Yeah, you can go with him, but your house is going to sit a long time, right?
Yeah.
And then that might be a time when you say, look, I've been in this situation before, right? I've done this. And I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, right? Because this whole conversation is setting up proper expectations, right? If you don't set up proper expectations, you're going to be sitting on the market for 130 days, and they're going to be asking why you haven't sold the house yet, right?
And this scenario can go so many different ways, right? They can either listen to you or they still think that they know better for some reason, even though there's no empirical data to back that up.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to maybe say, hey, you know what? We can try it your way. I'm okay with trying it your way. But if we don't get any traction within 2 weeks, would you be willing to try my way?
Perfect. That's exactly what I do. Yeah. You may have got that from me.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
I might have. Okay. I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I mean, you kind of got me into real estate.
Well, I got it from Ben. Okay. So number 5 is not really much of a question, but your presentation should be simple and not complicated, right? Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? Do more listening than talking, right? Leave statistics and figures to your printed presentation and get to know the client and their goals, concerns, and not just what you've prepared, right?
That's a pro tip, man. It takes experience to get to that level because I think the first impression is a lot. And that person, if you don't know them and you're sitting down, you're just word vomiting all over them. You're not giving them a chance to tell you their concerns or time, like all this stuff that we've talked about and finding out what's important to them. You are more likely to lose that listing than to lock it in because you haven't done enough learning about this person. You don't even know them. You haven't asked anything. Like when I go in, you're just as your note says, my presentation is here's the figures and everything. We can look at this whenever you're ready. You tell me about you. What do you like? First of all, how long have you been in the area? What do you do for work?
And the person that controls the conversation isn't necessarily the person that's talking the most. It's the person that asks the questions, right?
Guiding the talk.
Exactly. Yeah. You're guiding that conversation, right? Where are we going to go next, right? Asking the proper questions. And so
I've left listing presentations where I didn't control how things went. I went, what the heck was that? No wonder I didn't get the listing, right? Yeah. Like I've been through that before where I didn't take control of like, hey, here's what we're going to talk about today. And then like asking a question that leads them into something productive. And you can go down a lot of rabbit holes and waste a lot of time. Yeah. And then like it makes it so much more frustrating when they don't pick you because you're like, dang, I just talked to this person. I know if they believe in aliens. I know about their politics and I didn't earn this listing. Yeah. So 100% like you're there to learn about this person and make a human connection and then prove that you're the person that's right for the job.
Well, that's one reason why when I get to a house, yes, we are in their environment, but I always ask after I ask them to show me around the house. The first thing I do when I walk in a house is, hey, can you show me around the house, right? Build rapport, build rapport, build rapport. During that time, I say, okay, is it okay if we sit around somewhere, right? And the reason why we sit around somewhere is so that I can set up the environment of asking questions, right? If we're standing, if we're walking around.
It's uncomfortable. Their attention's elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, like just like this. This is an intentional setting because we know that we're going to sit down and talk real estate.
Exactly.
Same thing with your clients.
Yeah. And so now you can start controlling the narrative and guiding them through the conversation in order to get them to the final result. And that result is signing the listing presentation at an appropriate listing price, right? Because you navigated them through the CMA, you navigated through the seller process and your systems. And that makes you look so much more professional if you actually take control because you have results. And even if you don't have results, act like it, but control that conversation for sure.
Yeah. And a little pro tip, a little 5A in here for you.
Okay.
This is from Jonathan Big Country Richards. Shout out to you, my boy.
What's up, Big Country?
One of our team members. He was an ABOR trainer. He's trained over 8,000 agents. Super good wealth of knowledge here. And one of his pro tips that I think absolutely deserves to be noted is when you go to these buyer or seller presentations and these meetings, you take a copy of the listing or buyer agreement and you ask for it there. You ask for the business. You ask for the agreement right there. Hey, I want to go over top to bottom what this listing agreement looks like, and I want to address any concerns that you have right now.
Interesting.
Because you're locking in your ABC, always be closing. You are there right then and there at the most perfect time to get real in-person feedback. And if I ask you, are you comfortable signing this agreement today? And you tell me no, I have the opportunity to explore or maybe to ask a great follow-up question. Hey, no pressure at all. I'm just wondering, is there anything that I haven't addressed for you that's made you uncomfortable with signing this agreement today?
Yeah.
And have that really like uncomfortable pause and let them tell you. Because then one of two things happens. If you let's say I do this presentation and I walk away and I say, oh yeah, I'll send you a listing agreement later and we can review it then. Well, then what happens? Now they have a bunch of time to sit there and think about it. They're not as excited anymore. Yeah. Like if you've done a really good job, you should be able to walk away with a signed listing or a signed buyer's agreement.
Yeah. I wonder, and I'm not negating what you just said, but I wonder if there's a more efficient way, maybe creating a Loom where it's explaining the listing agreement before you go to the listing appointment.
That's a good idea.
You know what I mean?
Where it's like, hey, at some point we're going to discuss this. I want to get you introduced to it so it's not a big bulk of your time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so then at the end, you still ask for it and say, hey, if everything sounds good to you, let's get this listing done today.
Exactly.
And then you're
it's almost
closing
like
it.
warming them up.
Yeah.
You know? And on that, I've been doing a lot of Loom videos for listing appointments. And Loom, guys, if you don't know what Loom is,
Should be a sponsor.
I know, right?
Just saying.
That might be a good
Just
idea.
saying.
It's a demonstration software where you can show your clients with you talking in the video, and you can go over documents or go.
It's like a screen record. Like you can record your screen and then have you in the corner, face cammed, talking through what they're looking at.
It's very helpful. It's helped me a ton, and I've closed many deals with it, but using it properly, right? And I know what I'm doing. And I've done listing presentations on Loom before too, because the clients were out of state. You know,
That's a good idea. So then you can walk. You're both on the call.
Yeah.
And you're walking through it. You're still getting real time feedback. You can see their facial expressions. You can ask questions in real time. And you're going.
No,
through.
so this isn't live. Just a heads up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I record it and then send it to them, and I say, hey, once you're done watching that, if everything's good to go, then we'll move forward, right? And then,
Gotcha.
And also, Loom lets you know if they've watched it and how much they've watched it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So now I'm like, okay, cool. They actually watched it. Then I'll follow up with them.
I like that. I'm gonna have to steal that from you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's pretty much it. Jordan, you want to go ahead and close this out? Maybe talk about more opportunities to join.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys enjoyed anything that you heard today, maybe you learned something new that you want to implement in your business. We also have tons of resources, more than just what you're going to hear from this podcast, for our team over here at the Wolfpack. We have some exclusive trainings. And when I say trainings, I'm talking about for the modern agent. I'm talking about for people who want to build legacy businesses that are long-lasting, natural, organic lead generating, and like utilizing social media. That's a big thing that a lot of people are missing out on. There's so much market share out there, digital market share that you can tap into. That's a big part of what we do. And we can help open up that playbook for you. The same playbook that made Suman Kim a $180 million producer in 3 years of the first 3 years of his real estate career. Those kind of results, we have the playbook. We love to partner with people and help elevate their business. If that's something you're interested in, you can find us on Instagram. Like I said, we got
At John Michael Perez.
at Jordan Sells ATX. We'd love just to have a call with you. We want to make sure we're a good fit for you, just like you're a good fit for us. And there's no pressure. I think if you've gotten this far into the podcast, you know how that we're laid back dudes and we just want to see you win. And whether that's on our team or not, we're here to cheer you on, support you, provide value. Woo! Okay.
That was a great episode.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for listening, supporting. Just to rehash what we said at the beginning, a free, easy way to support the podcast is to give us a like, a subscription, and a 5-star review. We appreciate you guys so much, and we will catch you in the next one.
See you guys.